Hey, welcome to part 2 of the RevSim virtual coffee break series. Today you're going to learn a little more about democratizing HPC. We've got Wolfgang Gertz with us from the Uber Cloud, along with Alan Chalker with Ohio Supercomputer Center. Before we get into it, just a little brief reminder about the RevSim initiative. It's a global industry initiative created to make the use of engineering simulation more capable and efficient for CAE experts and more accessible and reliable for the non-experts. It's what's being termed democratizing simulation. And the results are, among the many results are greater innovation, faster product development cycles, and a faster return on your CAE investment. At the conclusion of this webinar and the series, in fact, I invite you to take a more in-depth look at revsim.org, register for the newsletter, and poke around a little bit on the site and become more familiar with the site and the benefits that it holds. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Alan.
Hey, thanks, Bob. I'm going to talk about a particular company that worked with us at Ohio Supercomputer Center with our AWESIM initiative. We simply brand and call our industrial engagement program AWESIM, mainly because the fact that when we say we're from a university, people oftentimes think we want to do a research project, and that's not what we want to do. We really provide a service. So the company is BWAY, and many people think of HPC or supercomputing as being very ivory tower or high-end Fortune 500 type things that are for only sophisticated products. But BWAY does nothing but make plastic buckets. Their bread and butter is the standard 5-gallon bucket, and there are a surprising number of iterations that they have to do. This is very much a kind of commodity type product where they can't really compete too much on price because there's several bucket manufacturers out there. Everybody's got the equipment to do it. So they have to compete a little bit differently. And one of the ways they compete with against their competitors and differentiate their product is in the initial design and some of the customization they do. So a client might come and say, hey, we want to be able to advertise that we are being green and environmentally conscious. We want to minimize the amount of plastic in our bucket, but we still need to be able to hold the weight and not be crushed. Or another client might say, hey, we want to have some sort of special nozzle on the lid or a way for these to nest a little bit differently. And historically, the way this has worked for BWAY is they've had to mock something up and then create an actual mold, try it out, test it, and go through a whole bunch of iterations, physical prototyping to create new bucket designs for clients. Well, with some of the resources that we provide as part of AWESIM, we were able to virtualize a bit of that. So as you can see here on this slide with the talking about the return on investment to BWAY, with a typical iteration, they do a design, they create the tool, they create some buckets, they test it, they then have to go and alter that tooling, create some more buckets, test it again. And you can see that there's a kind of an iteration of many loops of the altering testing before they get to a true production-ready design. And most people find it amazing that can take upwards of half a year plus, 37 weeks and $167,000 is what they found over the years is a traditional design cycle for a new bucket that a client wants. But with the AWESIM program, we were able to provide them with some apps and virtual simulations where they can take that CAD file and they can go and test it using finite element analysis to see what is the strength of it going to be. Is it going to be able to handle a drop or a crush or a pressurization event if they need that? And what that does is that allows them to reduce the iterations. Now, there still is a need for physical testing and some alteration of the tools, but it's much less of a need, they found. In fact, it shaved a good fraction of the time and cost. You can see here, 10 weeks, $38,000 off of their design cycle for new buckets. And that goes directly to their bottom line, and now potentially allows them to actually compete even on costs, not just on features and capabilities, because they can get something to their client not only faster, but potentially cheaper, since they've saved on the design cost of it. If you'd like to see more information and hear a little bit more about this BWAY story, we do have a full case study, 2-page case study that's available on the OSC AWESIM website. And you're encouraged to go look at that and reach out to me if you want to hear more. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Wolfgang.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alan. And my job here now is to offer you some actions or call to actions. And first, a little reminder about RevSim. And it is a democratization community with many different stakeholders, all involved into the engineering simulation area. So it is about the consumers who we want to help to get to HPC quicker, more efficient, faster. And so the users, the experts, the buyers, everybody who deals with HPC in engineering, in the simulation area. It is about industry organizations who help and join this initiative, like NAFEMS, ASES, and a handful of others. Then the academia, R&D, universities contributing, obviously the media, which is very important to take the message out to the community, and the simulation providers, ISVs, independent software vendors, etc. And certainly not to forget, last but not least, the industry analysts. And in the next slide then, we have very concrete call to actions for you. So you can register at the RevSim website to get to the information which we have mentioned before. And you can like look into the OSC, so the Ohio Supercomputer Center's content website, and also to the UberCloud website. You can subscribe to the newsletter there, to the monthly one, and you can also download the compendiums, which have about 100 case studies in very different areas of computer-aided engineering, the life sciences, oil and gas, and more. And with that, Bob, Alan, and myself, we thank you very much for your attention, and we hope that you enjoyed this little coffee break with us. Thank you.